Morning.
Ooh.
Ah, what'd you have?
Hey, bitch.
I see. Here we are in jail. Very good. So Jacob, good thinking. I like it. Yes, you wouldn't be able to have a haircut for the next month anyway, so make it last.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Very good. I should do the same thing. So Albert, you're looking much more jolly today.
Am I?
Yes.
It's probably because I'm eating breakfast, so I'm just happy.
I'm delighted to hear it. Last time, I was looking at, because I record these things, so I'm making a special edit tape to put on YouTube to, and for the last time, the whole time you're just sort of sitting there like this.
Was that
sort of ill look on your face? So I'm delighted to see that you are looking much more jolly and bouncy. Excellent. Though you were still, sharp and witty, even in your, in spite of your pain. So, yeah. So there we are. Hello, Jocelyn. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, you're good so far, but that's because you haven't seen the film we're going to be watching today, which is hopefully more Albert's kind of thing, because it's based on this film it's sort of related to this film called The Raid, which Albert liked, but it is notable for its complete lack of moral value. Okay, so I know everything that you've seen before, and the stuff I'll be showing you after this is all very sort of good. Well, forget about that for this. Hello, Jack. Welcome.
Oh.
Good morning.
So cool. God, you guys are so punctual. It's amazing. Welcome aboard. All right, so let's start talking about reality TV, and then move from that to mass interaction and sort of group interaction, sort of action movies. So let's just pull up the internet. Just a moment. Okay. Oop. Nope. 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 Sorry, I have this thing where I want to share screen, but sometimes for some reason it just won't see the screen that I'm trying to share with you. Let's get on with it. Guys, sorry, I'm just going to leave for 1 minute and then I'll come straight back in. Hopefully it'll refresh this so I can share screen. See you in a sec.
Jacob, I like your new hair.
Yeah, thank you. If we're going into quarantine and who knows for how long, might as well.
That's true.
Yeah, had mine done the other day. So again, it's just lucky.
So here we are. Okay, so that worked. All right, so this is the Wikipedia page for American Idol. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why the fuck should I care about American Idol? Why should I find it interesting? So I just want you to just demonstrate something to you. Whoops. um, which is just to look at the astounding success of American Idol for about 10 years. So these are the ratings for American Idol, and done by sort of season ranking. This is the interesting column right at the end here on the right hand side. So okay, so it comes in. It's a new show. No, in 2002, 2003, no one's ever really heard of it. So it's down at sort of 30 or 25. But then look what happens. It goes up to 4, down a bit to 7. Then by 2004, it's the -- show in the USA, and it just continues this astounding run. You know, this is the final performances, and this is the season finale. So the final performances are number 1, finale is number 3, then 2005, number 1, number 3, 2006, number 1, number 2, 2007, 2 and 1, 2008, 1 and 2, 2009, 2 and 1, 2010, 1 and 2, 2011, 1 and 2, and then it starts to slip. So it had like basically 10 years as the top show on American television, which I'm not an expert on American TV ratings, but I believe that's fairly unique in the history of American TV ratings, to have a show which was number 1 for a whole decade is just astonishing. Then it starts to slip. So 2011, you know, it's like 2-2, 2012, 4-7, 2013, 9-17, and then it really starts to fall big time. 2015, it's 22-41, 2016, 19-23, and so it goes break. So there was nothing in 2017. They had a break where they tried to sort of reinvent it. Didn't work. Came back in the sort of 30s, slipping down to the sort of 40s. Currently, it's down in the 30s. Now, even a series, you know, the top 30 TV series or the top 30 TV show in America is still a big deal. But they haven't managed to recover the magic. But for about 10 years, there was just this unbelievable sort of string of super high ratings. And we need to look at how American Idol and the other shows of its sort, the other Idol shows, but also Big Brother and so on, basically they all came into existence at the end of the 90s or in the early 2000s as a result overwhelmingly of one key technical innovation, which was
audience interaction.
Yes, via
Telephone.
Not exactly. A bit more specific. What sort of audience interaction? I mean, yes, telephone, but above all, text message. So the thing was that this, and sorry, I have to point out, I am not an expert on the history of reality TV, so feel free. I would be delighted, in fact, if you all did essays on the history of reality TV and then check the facts, and then I can learn from you about these sort of things. But my understanding is, so what happens is in the late 90s, early 2000s, you have text messaging come in, but there's also something else, something cultural, which is, your clue is, it's the late 1990s, early 2000s. The millennium. I know none of you are old. Albert, do you remember the millennium?
I do, yeah.
Right. Do any of the rest of you remember the millennium? No. Okay, but a little bit. Okay. Jack, Jack, were you born in the millennium?
I was born 98.
Oh, I see. Old guy. Okay, fine. All right. So anyway, you may not remember it like very clearly, but around the millennium there was this cultural thing, which was, oh wow, innovation. Let's do the new thing. Let's try this new technology. There's this thing called the internet, which has come along. I mean, the internet was invented in the 1960s, but the World Wide Web came into existence in around 92 and started to kind of hit everyday life in the sort of late 90s. So I personally started working on in the internet in mid 99, and lots of people at the same time were sort of getting into the internet. And so you had this enthusiasm for trying something new, which came along with this new technical innovation of text messaging, which meant that there was suddenly this openness in the TV industry to trying something new. And as part of that wave, we had Big Brother, American Idol, or originally Pop Idol, and a whole other range of what has come to be called reality TV shows. But what is the difference between a show like American Idol and a show like The Great British Bake Off? There's one, I know one's about singing, one's about cooking. Apart from that, in terms of the structure, in terms of the format, in terms of the relationship between the audience and the show, what's the difference?
Can you vote in the British Bake Off?
No, you can't.
No.
So the difference is?
Well, again, I'd say it's audience interaction. The fact that...
Exactly. So what is the nice, snappy term for reality TV shows where the audience interacts as opposed to reality TV shows where the audience doesn't? What's the common TV term to distinguish those? There isn't one because the TV industry hates interaction. So they had this brief moment of madness around the millennium where they all got drunk on champagne and, got excited about this internet thing. And then after a couple of them, they realized, oh, fuck, this is a threat to us. We need to shut this shit down as fast as possible. And so you had this massive openness and then a great closing down. Now, the thing was that a number of shows had already got through the gate, and those continued and were extremely successful. But generally, culturally, I would say that that there was this period of openness and then a great shutting down, and especially bolstered the great shutting down was what financial thing happened in 2001. Obviously, there was 9/11, but there was a financial thing. The dot-com bust. So at the millennium, you had this huge surge of enthusiasm for everything connected to the internet, and that went along with stock prices. Then in the mid 2001, you had this thing called the dot-com bust, where suddenly the stock market decided that the internet was rubbish, that no one was ever going to make any money out of it. And so companies like Amazon almost got wiped out in the dot-com bust. Amazon was almost killed in the dot-com bust. You could have bought, a substantial proportion of Amazon for almost nothing because everyone knew it was rubbish. No one was ever going to make money out of this internet thing. It was all a load of crap. And so TV industry went along with that very happily. And there was one example of this related to a cat called Socks. Now, some of you might have actually been watching Blue Peter at the time. Can anyone tell me about a cat called Socks? No? Okay. You frown when I say that the TV industry hates interaction. A cat called Socks is the proof that what I'm saying is true. So, Blue Peter, are we all familiar with it? Ah, okay.
Heard of it, never watched it.
Really? Is Blue Peter over? How interesting. Okay, so Blue Peter was from the 60s through to the 2000s, was the big BBC children's TV show. I grew up watching Blue Peter. almost every British child, sort of until sort of about 2000, grew up watching Blue Peter. Everyone loved it. It was the most trustworthy TV show, and it was, fabulous. And anyway, so Blue Peter, they have these pets, and they got this cat, and so they had a competition to choose the name of the cat. So they came up with some top suggestions, and then children all over the UK were invited to choose the name of this cat, which then was called Cookie as a result of the competition. So, what do you think was wrong with the competition? Sorry, the cat was called Socks as a result of the competition. You won't know, so the problem was that the kids in the competition voted that the cat should be called Cookie. The TV people at Blue Peter decided they didn't like that name because it was too American. So they ignored what these fucking children said. Who cares about them? We're going to call the cat Socks. And so it was, oh kids, you've all voted. Thank you for your choice. And now the cat is called Socks. However, word got out that in fact that this was, a scandal, and all these poor kids. Because the thing is, in the UK, you had to have to pay like 5p or something for your text message. So it wasn't just ignoring the children; it was getting the children to pay and then ignoring the children. And so there was a scandal, and a number of other scandals killed the whole text messaging thing. But and sometimes people say, oh, well, was it money? Was it, da-da-da-da? No, there was a fundamental cultural thing, which is that TV people don't like interaction. They don't like handing over the choice of anything to the audience. Now, as scriptwriters, I'm sure you can sympathize with this. I can sympathize with it as well. But it shows one of the key reasons why interaction was wiped out in the mid-noughties, because the TV people hated it. However, some shows had managed to get through the gate, above all American Idol, and other ones like Big Brother and so on. But there is now this kind of astonishing lack of innovation around new formats for reality TV. Now, I know you're all artists and you want to create scripts with characters and all that sort of thing, but just bear it in mind that the money in reality TV is gigantic, and the viewing figures in reality TV is gigantic, and there is this huge hole, which is, let's come up with a new idea for something interactive, because there hasn't been anything for like a decade now, because all the ideas have been TV person friendly ideas where they think of everything. So in my opinion, for someone, at your stage in your careers, just bear it in mind, that that if you could come up with a new idea for an interactive reality TV show, you could have, you could make a gigantic amount of money out of it, get billions of viewers, and make a huge difference in whatever particular way you want. So just bear it in mind. Now, you might think, well, okay, but text messages are so retro. When was, like, Jacob, when did you last send a text message? Do you send text messages anymore?
I do, actually, yeah.
You do? Oh, okay, fine. Well, then, okay, fine. But there's still, it's still not like, it's not something you grew up with, right? It's not something new. So for your project for this afternoon, one thing I'd like you to have a think about is, what if you had an app where you could interact in the following ways? The app could tell if you are smiling. The app could tell if you are frowning. The app could tell if you shake the phone and shout, either to vote positively or negatively. The app can also handle text messages, but that's not what it's designed around. It's designed around emotional feedback. So feedback where you're putting your heart and soul into whatever the kind of voting process is. Yeah. So that's reality TV, but I just hold the idea of a feedback mechanism which is about shaking and shouting and passion, because this is where you guys are going to need to get in touch with your Thursday morning passion. So let me tell you Okay, so I'm going to show you an interactive film I made called Mercy or Justice, which is by far the least successful film I have ever made. It was the most agonizing shoot of my entire career, and it features lots of fights and a highly glamorous leading lady, all of which leaves people completely cold. Yeah. So the shoot, basically what happened was I knew a guy in Indonesia. He had seen The Raid, or rather, sorry, in Indonesia there's a phenomenon film called The Raid. Albert, tell us about The Raid.
It's an action movie where there's this tower block and there's like police officers trapped inside or something, and so they have to like work their way up the tower to fight all the bad guys and free the people, and yeah, that's it really.
And how much drama is there? How much like talking?
Oh, like 5% of the movie. It's just like, go here, there's a bad guy there. What are we gonna do?
How much fighting is there?
Like 95%.
Right, exactly. Okay, so where was it filmed?
I actually don't know.
I think it was Jakarta.
Was it?
That's right. So The Raid was filmed in a city called Jakarta. Jack, where's Jakarta?
Kind of sounds like it would be in like Africa or something.
Well, good answer. Jocelyn, where's Jakarta?
Is it Indonesia?
Yes. What's the population of Indonesia, roughly, relative to, say, a country like the United States or something?
You lost me there a little bit. You went out.
Sorry. Okay. So Indonesia is the third most populous country in the world. It's wider east to west than the United States, but no one's ever been there. No one's ever heard of it. No one knows anything about it. Through a bizarre quirk of fate, and the capital city is Jakarta, which is a city that no one's ever been to. Its population is about 15 million. So it's much, much bigger than London. And I lived there for 6 years. It's an absolutely fascinating city. It is completely insane, and in all sorts of ways, and also deeply fascinating. But anyway, so The Raid was the only film ever made in Indonesia which has been a success worldwide, and it was a cult hit, and there's Raid 1, Raid 2, both of which were made by a British guy who lived in Indonesia, who lived in Jakarta. But what did he get right that I got wrong, Jacob?
He married rich, didn't he?
Exactly. So he married an insanely rich woman who funded the raid. So he had a very friendly backer. However, there's plenty of people who've managed to get films funded, but what Gareth Evans did was make a fantastic film. Anyway, so I got rung up by a guy that I knew in Jakarta, and he said, "Hey Martin, I know this rich guy. He loves The Raid, and he loves your Lifesaver film." So the Lifesaver CPR film that you saw a little bit about in the first thing. So can you make like an interactive, like Lifesavery like version of The Raid? Can you make like an interactive raid? So what did I say? Of course. So that's what I signed up to do, which was to make an interactive version of The Raid. So we're going to have a little bit of a look at it. I'll just say, just in terms of the pain of shooting. So the thing is, the way they shoot films in Indonesia is completely insane. So it was a 5-day shoot. Each day started at 3 a.m. and then ended at 11 p.m. And at the end of the day, they would have this meeting where everyone would sit around and say what a terrible job I'd done. And then it was back fresh to start, the next day. So it was like absolutely brutal. But anyway, so let's have a look. Now, the key thing is that it was designed to interact with an app, and the app would detect whether you were shaking your phone and shouting, and you would either shout mercy, 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 or justice, 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 justice. And what you're shouting determines whether the loser in the fight that you've just won does what, Jacob?
Well, yeah, gives mercy or gives justice.
Which means?
Kill or not kill.
Exactly. So it's the ethical opposite of lifesaver. It's life taker, right? So, and it is based, of course, on the most famous interaction in entertainment history, which we talked about before, which is... Show me the most famous interaction in entertainment history. Gladiators?
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. Right. So it is the film version of thumbs up, thumbs down. And what does thumbs up, thumbs down in the gladiator arena have to do with American Idol?
That's saying whether the contestant, the thumbs up, it says the contestants get to remain. Thumbs down, contestants are booted out.
Exactly. So American Idol, this mega hit on American TV, is exactly the same gameplay mechanic as gladiator fights. You have a battle, then the audience decides, who the final victor is. It's basically the same concept. It's just reworked a bit for a world in which you can't actually execute the losing contestant in American Idol. If that's your idea for sexing up American Idol, then fine. I mean, it's interesting. Might be a hard sell, but lots of people would love it, no doubt. Anyway, so this is and this is designed for use in a cinema. So it's designed for a situation where you've got a seething mess of people. And afterwards, I'll show you some footage of us screening it at a film festival in Poland, where the audience went completely mad, and they had glow sticks. So green glow sticks for mercy, red glow sticks for justice, and they went completely nuts. Now, the problem is that while you guys are all beautiful and unique, you are only 4 people, right? So you are not going to be able to generate the required, the appropriate level of frenzy. But let's try, all right? Okay, so let's just, don't be shy. Let's have a little practice. So let's say we've just seen a fight and we are being asked to decide whether the loser gets mercy or justice. So now you're going to have 20 seconds, which is going to feel a bit long, I think. 20 seconds is fine if you've got a cinema. For 4 people, it's going to seem a little long, but let's see how we get on. Okay, so let's say you want to give mercy. So on a count of 3, please shout mercy, 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 and give a thumbs up. Jack, can you switch your camera on, please? Okay. Okay, so we're going to have mercy, 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 and a thumbs up on a count of 3. And we want volume, we want passion, we want vulgarity, okay? Get in touch with your inner popcorn-eating, cinema-going zombie, okay? Okay, so are we ready? Okay, so on a count of 3, doing mercy. And 3, 2, 1.
Mercy.
Mercy, 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 mercy.
That was pathetic. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, and let's have a little volume this time. Okay, standing by on a count of 3. 3, 2, 1.
Mercy.
Mercy.
Okay. And that was still pathetic, but let's keep going. Okay, if you want justice, on a count of 3, get in touch with your inner killer. 3, 2, 1.
Justice.
Okay, now Albert is starting to get into it. The sort of justice. That's the sort of thing we need. Okay, you see, because Albert realizes this is about killing people, so it's like engaging a sort of an inner enthusiast. Okay, so market improvement. Okay, and one more time for justice. 3, 2, 1.
Justice.
Okay, fantastic. Also, excellent performance from Jack. Okay, all right, lovely. So let's give it a go. I've never presented this on Microsoft Teams before. If it all goes horribly wrong, if you can't hear properly or whatever, just let me know. But otherwise, I'll see you on the other side. The first interaction is in about 5 minutes. Okay, so just a second. Screen. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'll just come out and then go back in so I can share screen. Just a sec. Okay, include computer sound. Okay, so I'll share. You should start here. You should see video and hear audio immediately. If you can't, just give us a shout. Okay, here we go. Can we all mute ourselves, please?
Kamu dengar yang baru? Ya, nama saya. Nah, Pak, ikut gua sekarang. Kamu nggak nonton acara sampah itu lagi kan? Harusnya dilarang tuh.
Jangan lupa Papa Menudo.
And now, it's Professor Sherman's Mercy or Justice. The challenger tonight is Gary. He must win 3 fights. Fight 1, the challenger, V, the masked maniac, Manon. If he wins, it's on to Fight 2, the challenger, V, Double Trouble, Angin and Raku. If victorious, he goes on to Fight 3, the challenger, V, the master gladiator himself, Maku. The grand prize, $50,000 US. But in every battle, the loser faces death. Death in the electric jaws of the Death Pack.
Bisa.
But our patented auto viewer control system means only you can decide if the loser gets mercy and lives or justice and dies. Now, here are your hosts, Maku, and the creator of the show, the Einstein of interactivity, Professor Sherman.
Selamat datang kembali di Let's Play Mercy or Justice. Peserta malam ini di arena bambu adalah Gary. Dan kami juga memiliki seorang ring girl baru untuk Anda.
Boleh juga tuh cewek.
Ya, pemirsa, kami sudah lihat Gary siap untuk bertarung. Apa ya?
Lihat tuh kan.
Bangsat, tunggu dulu.
Gila.
Saya adalah penantang malam ini, Ruri Sanjaya. Dan semua ini untuk Arya dan Pandu.
Ya tapi lu lihat dong, sekali ditendang aja udah langsung mati sama petarung kita.
Itu keren. Pemirsa, kita punya seorang petarung baru. Mari kita panggil yang akan berhadapan dengan Monong. Dan dia adalah Ruri Sanjaya.
And now it's time. Fight 1. The Challenger v. The Masked Maniac, Monong.
Guys, buruan nonton Mercy and Justice. Gila banget ini. Gila banget. Lu harus nonton. Aksi gokilnya keren.
Hei manis. Maaf manis.
Jangan. Yes.
Knockout!
Dan deathmatch-nya berlangsung terus. Kami memberi bius kepada petarungnya biar dia tidur selama votingnya berlangsung.
Never voted on mercy or justice? Don't worry, it's easy. First, open the app. You'll see a screen like this with 2 buttons. If you want the loser to live, press the thumbs up button for mercy. But if he deserves to die, press thumbs down for justice. But that just gets 1 point for your side. To get 100 points, you need to shake your phone hard and shout loud for mercy or justice. These sliders show you which side is getting the most points, moment by moment. And watch out, you must get at least 1 slider over the halfway mark, or we'll have to do the vote all over again. So, get ready to shake hard and shout loud for mercy or justice.
Are you ready to go? Get ready.
Okay, here we go.
3, 2, 1.
We can't hear anything. Louder.
Justice.
Justice!
Justice.
Justice!
Justice.
Mercy.
Justice!
More passion.
Justice! Come on, Justice!
And stop. And your choice is justice.
Excellent. You voted for justice. So, very soon, you'll have to press this shock button to deliver the shock. Just press the button hard and keep pressing until justice is delivered. At least a quarter of you must press the button in the first 3 seconds, or there's no shock and the loser goes free. So get ready to press that button for justice.
So Albert, I'll just imagine you're pressing the button.
Press the shock button on a count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Stop. Justice has been delivered. But it's not over yet. Next up, fight 2, the challenger, the Double Trouble, Ongen, and Raccoon.
Satu-satu ya. Gue cewek loh.
Maaf sayang, gue harus ngelakuin pekerjaan ini.
Knockout! Double knockout!
Tunggu. Buat siapapun yang nonton acara ini, saya tahu Ongen dan Rakun memang bukan orang baik. Tapi tolong, saya nggak mau mereka mati karena saya. Tolong pilih Mercy. Terima kasih.
Menarik, tapi bukan dia yang membuat keputusan di sini. Hanya Anda yang berhak memilih Mercy atau Justice. Dan pemilihan dimulai sekarang.
Okay, they're not so bad. Or are they?
3, 2, 1.
Mercy.
Yeah, you sound like a telephone answering machine. Hit my passion.
Mercy.
Oh, Mercy! Mercy!
And stop. And your choice is Mercy.
Maka pertarungan Ongen dan Rakun berhasil.
Oops, just a second, folks. just talk amongst yourselves for a second. I just need to sort this out.
Hey, Albert.
Guanawasi.
What does that mean?
It just means like, what's good?
It's Japanese.
No, it's just American slang.
I've never heard this.
In Japanese. Why would I use Japanese? I'm gonna start saying Japanese things now. I'm gonna find some Japanese slang and start using it.
That's good.
What time did you finish shooting yesterday?
5:30.
Oh, that's pretty early.
No, 4:30 even.
That's really early.
They had to pack up everything until 5:30.
Okay, we're back.
Hour.
Okay, guys, we're back. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. And now we share. Okay. Okay, I'll leave. I'll come back. Okay, try again. Just a second.
Whoa, whoa. Get ready to vote. I already have it stuck in my head. There's no sound.
Okay, are you seeing something?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Sorry about that.
Tertulis kalau keluarga terdekatnya adalah tunangannya.
Tapi saya harus memberitahu lebih dulu bahwa Arya sepertinya orang baik. Tapi sebenarnya dia adalah pengedar narkoba. Kehidupan semua anak muda ini telah dihancurkan oleh seorang pengedar narkoba seperti Arya. Sekarang pilihan di tangan kalian.
Di file tertulis kalau keluarga terdekatnya adalah tunangannya, Ruri Sanjaya.
Ya, kayaknya.
And now, it's the showdown you've been waiting for. Fight 3, the challenger, V, the master gladiator himself, Maku.
Oh, yeah.
Knockout.
Melanggar peraturan tuh.
Lo memang sudah tanda tangan untuk kontrak perkelahian. Tapi lo malu-maluin gue di depan kru gue. Lo nyerang integritas gue. Sekarang lo harus bayar semua itu.
Saya Ruri Sanjaya. Saya tunangan dari petarung sebelumnya, Arya Andana. Saya tidak pernah menginginkan dia untuk ikut acara kotor ini. Dia ikut karena dia ingin menolong adik saya yang sedang sakit keras. Orang ini adalah pembohong besar. Dia bilang kalau Arya Andana adalah pengedar narkoba. Supaya kalian semua pilih Justice. Dan rating acara ini naik.
Mati deh gue. Bohong kali, mana mungkin. Enggak.
Untuk Arya Andana dan Pandu Sanjaya yang udah gak ada lagi, berikan dia Justice. Pilihan Anda dimulai sekarang.
Gila tuh, jangan dipercaya.
3, 2, 1.
Justice.
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 Justice. Justice.
Justice.
Justice. Justice.
3, 2, 1. And stop. And your choice is Justice. Press the shock button on a count of 3. 3, 1. And stop. Justice has been delivered.
Tidak ada acara kayak gini lagi. Tidak ada pembawa acara yang baru.
All right, so now it's over to you. So for this afternoon, 3:30, think about passion-based interaction. It doesn't need to involve the execution of participants, but it can. So, it can be a reality, just something about mass interaction, something about where it's designed for a group of people doing stuff together. So, and where, but of course, it can be groups of people at home watching television, or groups of people in the cinema, or groups of people online. But it's mass interaction and based on passion and energy, positive or negative. One thing I should have said about the sort of the genius of American Idol and also the Gladiator shows is that American Idol, if it was a game for one person, it would be the most boring game in the world, because you would see the contestants and you'd think, okay, that one's attractive, those ones aren't attractive, that one's interesting, those are all boring, I don't like that one. Okay, so it's that one or that one. Okay, this one's more attractive, I'll go for this one. The whole of American Idol would be over in 5 minutes, because if it was just up to you, you would just make that choice. But the point about mass interaction ideas is that the intrigue comes because it's not just up to you. You are doing your little bit to sort of get people to get your favorite one to win, but maybe you're in a cinema and everyone around you is shouting the other way, in which case you shout even louder. Or maybe you're at home watching TV with your family and they don't agree with you, in which case you're trying to kind of persuade them. But the key thing with mass interaction ideas is that it's designed for mass interaction. It's designed for a group. It's not a single player game just turned into a group game. It's the fundamental idea is around the mass together deciding what they want to happen. Yeah? Okay, sounds good. All right, cool. Okay, well, so see you at 3:30. If anyone wants to hang on and ask me anything, that's fine. Otherwise, thanks and see you a bit later. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
Yeah.